acres in size to allow the location of fiber optic cable shelters and a backup generator. The proposed regeneration facility generally are located every 60 miles to serve as boosters for the fiber optic cables. The cables are sensitive to elements and require shelters and HVAC units for these proposed facilities. A backup generator would also be constructed to ensure continuous power for the fiber optics. The site would be surrounded by a chain link fence to limit access to the site and a single entrance off of Patterson Avenue. The facility would be unmanned, and the backup generator would be started approximately once a week for 30 minutes to ensure its operation. The location was chosen because of its proximity to the 95 corridor and the fiber optic lines in the area. The Planning Commission held its public hearing on the request and forwarded a recommendation of approval to the board. With that, I'll address any questions that you may have.
Questions for Mr. Fincham at this time? None? Mr. Fincham, this isn't some sort of internet site. It's just a backup fiber optic station?
Yes, sir. It's not an actual, it's really a booster station is what it is, and power backup in the event of a failure.
Thank you, sir. Is the applicant here? Let me declare the public hearing to be open first. The public hearing is open. Would you be Mr. Trimmer?
No, I'm Phil Hosak. I'm with, excuse me. My name is Philip Hosak. I'm with SIG Acquisition.
Okay. Go right ahead, sir.
A little bit about the site itself. I don't know if you are familiar with this particular area, but this is a cul-de-sac dead-end street that abuts the 95 corridor. Our fiber optic cable is actually following the 95 right-of-way, I-95 right-of-way in VDOT, as part of a resource sharing agreement with VDOT. That basically means they get facilities to operate their ITS, their intelligent transportation system, through our fiber. The regen site itself is indicated it's a booster site, about every 60 miles to improve the signal. What else can I say about the site? Just as an idea of what it looks like, I'm sure you've all seen cell sites, and there's a brown aggregate concrete shelter. That's what it looks like, without the tower. There will be no towers at this site. The site will be screened with natural pine trees. You probably won't even see it. The only noise that will come out of it about once a week will be the generator starting up and shutting down. Do you have any questions regarding the site? Or?
Well, thank you. Let me see if there's anybody else who would like to speak, and then we'll come back and ask you questions.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Is there anyone else who would like to speak regarding this matter? Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Hearing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed. Any questions? No questions? Seems like a fairly simple operation. It's no impact. There's really no revenue, but it's, is there any revenue? Do we get some machinery or tools or?
No, I don't, there is no real revenue, although I did meet with your economic development folks, and we're right across 95 from the new development, and he felt that the availability of the fiber might be, an enhancement to the project. So.
But you're not the only fiber running up and down 95.
No, we're not. No, we are the only ones on 95.
You are the only fiber on 95?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
And the purpose of your fiber is just to connect to VDOT's
Oh, no.
ITS system?
No, it's a private.
It's a private.
We are a CLEC. We are a public utility. But VDOT, for allowing us to utilize the right-of-way, they have a benefit out of it as well.
In turn, you provide them?
Correct.
Okay. Now, how would I tap into your fiber to provide, say, internet access to a couple of buildings that are along there?
Contact my sales folks, and they will. I mean, we could build to it from our shelter, or place point along the route. But I mean, I mean, you can get to the fiber if there's a need for it.
Okay, is that a possibility? I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's probably more of a possibility before we approve it than after we approve it, but that's beside the
no,
point.
no. I mean, that's what it's there for use.
All right. Do you have a business card by any chance?
I do.
Would you give it to Mr. Parton? Mr. Parton, would you?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
All right. No other questions? This is Mattapan. I don't really see anything. I'd appreciate a motion to approve it.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we approve special exception 01-2014, Trimmer Thomas Lee, owner for SIG Acquisition Company, applicant.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mr. Akers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously. We've done 8. Are we still doing 9, the Country Fest?
They are here.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, your next item on the agenda, which is not a public hearing, is a request for approval of a festival permit, administrative permit 01-2014 for the proposed Country Fest at the Meadow. Commonwealth Fairs and Events has submitted a request for what is planned to be an annual concert at the Meadow Event Park. The first such event will be June 28th of this year. You may have heard this advertised at various radio stations as the K95 Country Fest. In accordance with Chapter 49 of the County Code, as well as the proffers accepted with the rezoning for Meadow Event Park, a festival permit is required for any music festival not associated with the state fair at this site. The purpose of this permit request is to fulfill the requirements of both the festival permit and the zoning on the property to allow this event to go forward. The applicant appears to have complied with all the standards set forth in the festival permit, and staff recommends approval of this request. I'll address any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fincham. Board members have any questions of Mr. Fincham at this time? If not, thank you, Mr. Fincham. We will declare the public hearing to be open.
This is not a public hearing.
I was just on a public hearing mode. All right, the applicant's here. Would you like to add something?
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to us this evening. Have you had an opportunity to review our festival application? I think probably the best thing at this point then would be for me to answer any of your questions. I'm certainly happy to review the event, but in the essence of time, and since you have already had the opportunity to review the application, I don't need to repeat that unless you have specific questions.
Yeah, you're basically using you're replacing one event with this event, right? Is that what we understand?
No, that's not quite it. So maybe I'd better just take a few minutes of your time this evening and give you a little bit of an overview. This is the first of two festival permits that have been submitted to the county for your consideration. This is one under the current zoning, as Mr. Fincham mentioned. There has been a second festival permit submitted that would be considered if the rezoning application were to be approved on June 10th. The only difference between the two applications is the location of the two music stages. In this application, the stages are, according to the proffers, located in the northern end of the Midway parking area and inside of the Farm Bureau Center exhibition hall. So that is the only difference between these two applications. The event, this is the first year it will be held at the Meadow Event Park. As Mr. Fincham said, it will be Saturday, June 28th. This is a full afternoon and evening music festival. Gates would open at 11 a.m. Music would start at noon and run for 8 hours until 8 p.m. At the conclusion of the music, we will have a bull ride and a barrel race in the horse and livestock complex of the Meadow. And besides the music and the bull rides, we'll have a Country Fest playground where we have inflatable water slides, mechanical bowls, that sort of thing, as well as 30 food and retail vendors who have already signed up to participate in the event. So there is the revenue potential there through Commissioner of Revenue's office, and Ms. Carter has already received a preliminary list of those vendors. We anticipate attendance at this event at being 10,000. Ticket sales are already occurring online. They are $25 in advance, $35 at the gate. There is a military and a child discount price as well as a VIP option, and all this can be found on the website for the event, k95countryfest.com, which also allows customers the opportunity to go check out the festival policies, learn about the schedule so they know what to expect before their arrival at the Meadow. One thing, especially after Chief Loftus's presentation earlier, I think is important to note is a comprehensive public safety an emergency management plan and manual has been put together and from input from county agencies. This plan includes traffic control, interior and exterior law enforcement, fire and EMS, weather contingencies, an operational timeline, and a unified command staff protocol. Mr. Chris Alberta is the security lead for this event. Mr. Alberta is here and can address any questions that you might have about emergency management or security plans for the event. In addition to him, we have been working with Caroline County Fire and Rescue and EMS, the Sheriff's Office, Virginia State Police, Virginia Alcoholic Beverage Control, and private companies, ETS Incorporated for EMS services, as well as RMC events, which have been integral already in the planning for public safety for this event. Additionally, we have filed an ABC permit application, the land use permit and traffic control plan. The primary parking area for this event will be Lot C, which is the area south of the horse and livestock complex, accessed off of Meadow Farm Road. General customers will all enter through the main ticket plaza. This gives us the opportunity to remind them of the festival policies as well as conduct bag checks. The majority of the festival layout is north of Route 30, around the Farm Bureau Exhibition Hall and around the Meadow Hall Mansion. The vendors will be laid out outside around the festival loop in front of the exhibition hall. As I mentioned earlier, the stage locations for this application are the northern end of the Midway and inside of the exhibition hall. They will alternate music on those two stages. They will not have concurrent music on both of them. And we are definitely wanting to keep that music under 8 hours, even under this festival permit consideration. Then the bull ride and the barrel race will happen in Ring 1, which is in the horse and livestock complex south of 30. May I answer any questions?
I have a couple. You said that one stage would be inside the Farm Bureau building itself, and then the other in the loop, I guess. Is that correct?
No, this is under the current zoning. So before the proffers are changed, the proffers currently state that a festival stage outside of the State Fair of Virginia event must be in the northern part of the Midway parking.
Correct.
So this is not our first choice for a stage location, but it is what the property is zoned for currently. We do have some concerns about putting a stage on asphalt in June, so we would prefer that it be located in Festival Loop on grass.
Okay.
have to come back with a proffer amendment to do that.
Yes, sir.
So, and Mr. Cully said that was set for June 10th. So basically what we're doing now, and staff has recommended approval, because all of this is according to your existing proffers.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Underwood?
Okay.
Yeah. There will be a public hearing June 10th. You've advertised this, there's nothing we're going to do to say, no, you can't have it, Travis Tritt's coming and whoever else.
Yes.
So the only issue you have is when you come back on June 10th to say, we would like to move this somewhere else. Then that may or may not happen, but you're still going to have this festival.
Correct. That's what we would like to do.
Right. Well, you're going to do that. You just may have asphalt, a stage in July or June.
And we will make adequate public safety contingency plans for that if that's what we must do.
Okay. So that's the worst case, but, okay. Any other questions? All right. I didn't really see any action. There's no action. We need to, well, it doesn't say, discussion and direction by staff. That's what you say.
Festival permits are required to be approved by the Board of Supervisors. This is consistent with the zoning, and in and of itself, by the zoning conditions, it requires a festival permit to be granted by the board in accordance with Chapter 49.
So action would be
The purpose of the proffers was to make sure that if there was an outdoor concert, it was brought for the board so that you were aware of the parameters of that concert in conjunction with Chapter 49.
Will they have to come back, I'm sorry, will they have to come back after June 30th to get another festival permit, or will this permit carry them through the amended proffers?
No, if they amend in June,
If the board
Yes.
amends the proffers in June 10th?
yes, they would have to come back with another festival permit application. We have that application, we're bringing that forward with the rezoning. You could not consider the new application at this point in time because it's based upon the revised proffers.
Yeah, I just didn't know if she had everything. If the conditions were met under this particular proffer, why would she have to come back and get a festival permit with the amended proffers is what I was getting at.
Because
Different layout.
there'd be a different layout, so you'd have to reapprove that new layout.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I make...
Mr. Chairman, you know, I'm always kind of between a rock and a hard place because I get some of the calls regarding the noise from activity at Meadow Event Park. I do understand it is certainly generates revenue for the county, and I try my best to look at it from both perspectives, from the business perspective and in terms of the business owners in the county as well as the residents. I just wish there was some way we could come to a happy median, because I do believe there's a way, but we haven't gotten there yet. I do have some concerns that have been voiced to me at our last constituent meeting, and once we allow the festival, then certainly it could become a frequent activity there at the Meadow, which are some concerns of some of the residents. So I do have some concerns, but I'm just kind of caught in the middle, to tell you the honest truth.
Well, we need to,
I'm going to take Mr. Underwood out of the middle and make a motion that we approve the festival permit based on, what, Chapter 49, Article 49, what is it?
existing proffers.
Second. I'm sorry? Chapter 49.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Akers, seconded by Mr. Black. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 5-1. Mr. Underwood is the dissenting vote. Bless you. Okay, Mr. Cully, information and calendar items. Agenda item 10. Oh, did I miss Relay for Life? That was Saturday. That would be a yes then. Oh, I went to a funeral. I couldn't have made it anyhow. Thanks for all your help.
You will note that I'll be on vacation next week.
Oh, man. How many vacations do you get?
A few. I'll be,
Liz.
Carlisle. I can't help when these national events are scheduled.
Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania. Yes.
Home of Jim Thornton.
You had, in the 2-on-2, had asked that we look at scheduling a water work session.
Yes.
Planning. So I put that on the calendar for folks to see for the 24th. So everybody would mark that on their calendar. We're preparing a water master plan sort of work session, planning session. Mr. Sheeble's working on those.
Can we meet the 4th? That's the 4th Tuesday in June. I know we only have one meeting on the even months. You know? Well, we are going to talk about some of your stuff too. We could, you and yeah, we're talking water planning. It's like a water work session, where we are, what we have, especially with Lake Caroline possibly coming off, and what we do with that capacity, and where we're going to get water, the Rappahannock thing. So kind of solidify a few more things, the Caroline Pines, when it's going to kick in. The week of the 9th? Of June 9th? Oh. Well, we got a board meeting on the 10th.
Yes, that'll probably be pushing utilities to get the information together. That's why we sort of pushed it out. July would be the 15th. Tuesday's the 15th.
You mean the regular board meeting? Oh.
Oh, that's the second week of July. Yeah, that'd be the 8th is the regular board meeting.
How much time do you think we need? I mean, we could do it in phases, but that's not going to be really productive. We could have Mr. Sheeble come by for an hour before the board meeting and then do another one. Well, we can meet the 24th, and then we'll plan on some other things around Mr. Akers. If you're not there, you know. You can turn that water off in Lake Caroline tomorrow.
The other meeting that you had asked was the 22nd of July, which is the second meeting in July, 4:30 with the school board. The 2-on-2 had made that recommendation.
Right.
Just put that out there. It's ways away, but maybe you could start planning that on your calendar for.
There was a couple of things we wanted to follow up. The maintenance part, joint maintenance, so we could save some money. Of course, talk about the school projects, and to figure out, as early as possible, some budget implications. If they're adding 14 classes at the high school, they'll probably be adding 14 teachers, so we're going to have to look at some budget things. We might as well see them as soon as possible. All right, that was it?
Yes, sir, that's it.
Thank you, sir. All right, now we're going to go into, I got two of them.
Can you do closing board comments?
Closing board comments. Mr. Taylor, closing board comments?
I don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Black?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Underwood? Mr. Akers?
No, sir.
Mr. Seeley?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have one. I have got to thank Mrs. Pam Hall for her help. For the family who had a funeral this weekend, she did a great job of working with me, trying to coordinate things. So, Pam, thanks again as always. You do a great job. We do appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right, closing meeting, I got two. We need a motion for consultation with legal counsel and briefing by staff, section 2.2, 3711A7 of the Code of Virginia, regarding specific legal matters requiring legal advice regarding the collection of amounts due to the county related to the sale of water to Ladysmith Water Company and the acquisition and disposition of real property, Section 2.23711A3 of the Code of Virginia, to discuss potential acquisition by the county of certain real property near the wastewater treatment plant and granting of an easement requested by Columbia Gas, where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the county's bargaining position or negotiating strategy. Is there a motion to that effect, please?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So, motion carries. We are now in closed meeting. We will reconvene. Motion to come out of closed session.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Seeley, seconded by Mr. Akers. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Taylor, do you certify that only those things we went into closed meeting were discussed?
I so certify.
Mr. Black?
I so certify.
Mr. Underwood?
I so certify.
Mr. Akers?
I so certify.
Mr. Seeley?
Mr. Chairman, I so certify.
And I so certify. We have no action from the, to
Need to,
direct,
to,
approve the settlement agreement?
no, the deed of easement.
We need a motion to approve the deed of easement
Or, well,
for,
to approve the agreement and then direct the county administrator and attorney to finalize the documents.
So moved.
thank you.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Taylor, seconded by Mr. Akers. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. That motion carries unanimously. Motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
Second.
Adjourned.